Hello, I'm Warren, and this is the Jank Bank on the Mended Drum. This week, we're going to be playing old-fashioned Control, in standard at the moment. That's right, blue-white, counterspells, board wipes, and card draw. Is it possible? It seems it really is. Let's take a look at the deck.
As I said, this is really old school Control. The idea is to try and 2-for-1 your opponent, getting 2 of their cards for each one of yours as often as you possibly can, while also drawing yourself additional stuff so that you've got the resources necessary to take them out at the end. Mystic Reflection and Depart the Realm are great ways to defend yourself early on, and are the first of 2 Foretell cards. The deck is full of Foretell, and you'll see why shortly. Sword Coming is a good way to defend yourself against big, horrible things that aren't creatures. But here's the Foretell. Stardom Unleashed is a lovely finisher. Get it into Foretell as early as you possibly can. Behold the Multiverse will fill up your hand and let you be drawing the cards you actually need to draw. Elrond's Epiphany by now speaks for itself. It's an absolutely legendary card, and if you manage to get it down later in the game with Mystic Reflection on one of your big creatures, it's even better. Doomscar will keep clearing the board and is the thing that you need to continually be fetching with Niko Defies Destiny. The more Doomscars you can cast, the better. Just keep wiping the board out, 2-for-1ing, 3-for-1ing them until you're ready to take over. Niko Aris is the surprise trick though. He gets you to draw a lot of extra cards, and that -1 lets you destroy other creatures. Mordenkainen is also huge card draw, and don't underestimate those dog illusion tokens. Dream Trawler is our technical finisher. It's 3-5 and it draws you cards and is lifelink and can make itself hexproof, but now you can change that for other cards when standard rotates. The land's really simple, just a mix of pathways, islands, and plains.
At the time of creating this deck, Niko Aris is a $1 card. A $1 card. That's a $1 card that can draw you a bunch of other cards and also destroy tapped creatures. Let's see him punch well over that $1 price over the next few games.
Alright, so as you can see, this is a Foretell deck. There's a lot of stuff that you want to get into exile with Foretell as quickly as possible, and Doomscar is probably the main one, because early on in the game, all you're going to be desperately doing is trying to wipe out creatures and get control of the board. The other way to do that, of course, is with Sword Coming, which will help you to counter anything that looks really dangerous that Doomscar can't deal with. Let them put a couple of cards down on the table, just like that, so that when you Doomscar, you're gaining 3 cards for one of theirs. Now we're going to need to try and get that Doomscar back as quickly as we can. The best way to do this, obviously, is with Niko Defies Destiny, which is lovely because it gives you life initially, helping keep you alive for everything that you've got in Foretell. Then it gives you mana to cast things in Foretell, and then it'll fetch you back that Doomscar. Normally, Kiora Best's a Sea God is terrifying, but there's Doomscar to save us. We basically just need to make sure that we control all of the creatures that are coming down onto the board, and make sure he empties his hand, because that then gives us a chance to seize control. Now he's going to steal one of our lands, and next turn he'll attack us with a Garruk's Harbinger, so he will draw another card. But it's okay, look at the number of cards that we've got access to here. Just keep wiping things out with Doomscar. Keep control of the board. There's another Niko Defies Destiny, which we want to get down, ticking over as quickly as we possibly can, because it's going to give us everything we need to cast all of our spells. Later on in the game, Niko Aris is great, because the more shard counters you can make, the more cards you can draw. For now though, I think we're just going to Elrond's Epiphany, put some blockers on the board, and give ourselves a chance to draw extra, and get our Doomscar down. Here's our Dream Trawler. Dream Trawler is a lovely way to finish the game, because it's going to give you some value by drawing you cards, get you some life, which maybe you've lost early on to the aggro decks, and there is Coma, the Cosmos Serpent. So that thing is a threat simply because it's going to be generating a lot of new creatures, which is really good value for him. And also we can't just Doomscar it away. He'll sacrifice that serpent to make it indestructible. So we've got to be a little bit more industrious with the way that we do this. We're going to need more mana effectively. Right, so first we put it back in his hand. We've got a sword coming. We've also got Mystic Reflection, which might be a sneakier way to deal with Comus, given that Comus cannot be countered on it. Mystic Reflection we'll be very thankful for at this point. Yeah, you see, can't counter it. But we can turn it into a little sapling token, which isn't quite as useful for him. We've still got the Doomscar, so next turn we can wipe him out and he will have no cards in hand. We're keeping some mana open to deal with things. All of the Storm Giants is a bit of a problem because it's obviously got ward and it protects itself during our turn, so by becoming a land, so we can't just Doomscar it away. We can defend it though with a Mordenkainen dog, because our dog is at 8/8 at the moment and only likely to get bigger. The sooner we can get that Dream Trawler down though, that's the thing that's going to win this for us. Apart from blocking the Cloudkin Seer, of course. Because the Dream Trawler is going to draw us extra cards. Cure Abyss the Sea God, we're not afraid of at this stage. Our dogs can handle that large Kraken, and we're going to hopefully defeat him before any of those other things come into play. We do have an Olren's Epiphany all ready to go. 2 dogs and the Dream Trawler. See, the dogs are now 10/10, so now they can not only kill the Kraken, they can survive themselves. And now we've got Olren's Epiphany. Yep, game over. Alright, our next hand, we've got lots of Niko Defies Destiny, so if we can last long enough to use it, that might help. As I said in the deck description, we've got to get Starnum Unleashed into the Foretell Exile Zone as quickly as we can, because suddenly its casting cost goes up dramatically once it's there. Also, we want to be fetching it back with Niko Defies Destiny if we can, because what's better than 2 angels is 4 angels or 5 angels. And that's what that Niko Defies Destiny will allow us to do, by also giving us extra mana to cast an additional angel. So I think that's the plan. Next turn I think the idea is to get out as many angels as we possibly can, and then fetch the Starnum Unleashed back with the last level 3 of that enchantment. Because once you've got a couple of angels down, you don't really have to worry about Prosperous Innkeepers. You see those 2 extra mana there? Now if we play a land, we can cast Starnum for 3 angels. And next turn, fetch it back into our hand. He's still got quite a few cards in hand, and critically he's got Cleric Class there, which on level 3 will fetch something that we kill from the graveyard and put it back into play. So what we want to do is we actually want him to activate that before we board wipe, if we can at all make that happen. The idea is really to try and get your opponent to empty their hand as much as possible. There's 2 Righteous Valkyries, great. I mean, I'm talking as if I've got a Doomscar, but I don't. It's a matter of time. Mordenkainen is going to start drawing us cards and let us sift through our deck relatively fast. So obviously, that will then find us a Doomscar as quickly as possible. We're trying here now to take out his life gainers if we can. Alright. So now he's just Timeous Doomscar. And another one, okay. We don't need 2, that's a bit greedy. Just the 1 will do. He's up to 55 life and probably feeling quite safe about now. Give ourselves a blocker there. Boost Mordenkainen, keep drawing cards. There we go, Starnum is now into exile. We're going to cast it as soon as we possibly can, and Niko Defies Destiny is there to fetch it back for us again if we need it, or if we need the Doomscar that's already in our graveyard, which is looking more likely given these large angels that are now building up on the other side of the table. I mean, you got to hand it to this Angels deck. It really does recover quite quickly. But we keep plugging away, we keep taking cards out of his hand. Keep destroying all creatures. There's our Dream Trawler. It's unfortunate that Dream Trawler won't be around in Standard for much longer. But we can replace it. There are a few other things we can do in that spot. Alright, Doomscar comes back. There's another Starnum. So technically we can now lay out a lot of angels. He might be feeling pretty confident up there at 60, but he shouldn't be for long. Only got 2 cards in hand again. We're keeping some of our lands in hand primarily to defend the Dream Trawler if he does decide to try and kill it. How quickly you've come down from 79 to 23. Now you see the Mystic is cast for the Elrond's Epiphany, meaning that the 2 normally 1/1 little flying tokens have now come in as Dream Trawlers. There's no way back here. This is it. Surprised he's waiting through all of the triggers. Most people would have conceded by now. Or she. Very kind of them. Good. Okay, let's have another look. Alright, this is going to be a more challenging hand. There's a lot of land, a Dream Trawler which is supposed to come later. But there is a Depart the Realm. Maybe that'll get a creature bounced back to his hand quickly. And now we've got a Doomscar. Not really worried about the Ruin Crab so much, because with Niko Defies Destiny, getting a choice of things to pull back out of there is actually quite useful to us. Obviously can't let him run too rampant because we do draw a lot of cards ourselves, but for now it's not too terrifying. This is all the indicators of a rogue deck, just no actual rogues. So it's like a pure mill, pure blue mill with card draw, I suppose, to make sure that the mill keeps happening. I'm imagining then that there's quite a few counters in his hand, so we are going to have to play around the counters. 2 Ruin Crabs may now cause us problems. He did not counter that, so the chances are, yep, we got away with our Doomscar. So now his milling has to stop. Sharik's the Raging Isle. Cute. Ah yes, of course. There is a bit of a ward on it, even though it doesn't have the actual hexproofy little ward sign, because it came out before that. Alright, we've got card draw and extra turns, all sorts of things in our hand. We just don't have the ability to wipe the board. That Charix with enough mana is also a good finisher. Speaking of finishers, here's our Dream Trawler. Yeah, he's pumping that Charix up, and I wouldn't be surprised if he did it again. Yep, there it is. 12-5. And attempting to frogify our Dream Trawler, that's fine. Don't want to throw away any of those cards. Let's just rather return the Dream Trawler to our hand. Maybe we could have just used the Depart the Realm to give it hexproof. Maybe that was a mistake. In fact, it was definitely a mistake. Let me get salty and return his Charix. I want to seize. Is cute. I'm a big fan. If you haven't checked out my Mordenkainen and draw deck, it makes good use of I want to seize. Have a look at that one after this. Alright, get Dream Trawler down again. We're going to have to move slightly faster than we usually would. Kiora Best the Sea God, not really a problem, as we can stop him from stealing the Dream Trawler with the hexproof. This time, I'm not going to make the same mistake. Alright. I have another turn. There's actually another Elrond's Epiphany there, so we can have another turn after this one. So actually we can finish him off now, instead of worrying about defense. And that's the game.
It turned out to be a surprisingly powerful deck. I think we lost only a few games over the whole playing with it. It had about an 80% win rate. I know the Dream Trawler will soon be rotating out of Standard, but you can replace it with Imrith Desert Doom, or maybe even just add in more Angel Creation. Anyway, we'll catch you next week on the Jank Bank.